So it appears that we have discovered why people are able to return Amazon products opened on the inside, but somehow not exactly opened on the outside. There are counterfeit. How are they worded here? From a user Shipping Shield on Twitter, Wizards Magic. Is there any way that you can stop people from selling Wizards branded shrink wrap for what I assume are reasons to scam customers, believing their product is authentically sealed? So this is like the super big drama that's been going over like the last 24 hours, because we've been watching people open sealed Amazon product and it's all opened on the inside. And people have mentioned in the comment section of those videos, hey, that's not exactly Wizards logo. It's not the same thing. It's not, like the square is off. It's too small, etc., etc. But whatever, it only needs to fool the Amazon employees. Like, they get the box back. It's got weight in it. Look, quite obviously, it looks like there's shrink wrap on it with some sort of branding. Looks okay. Look at this. You can get this for $36.41. $36.41 to scan, and I don't know how many of these you get. You get a ton of them. Open your Amazon boxes, send them back to Amazon in this shrink wrap, and boom, you've got a bunch of cards, and the next person that buys it is screwed. But, the good news is you might be able to, before it looked like, how can you identify which boxes have been opened or not? Looks like you might be able to tell because the counterfeit shrink wrap is counterfeit. Like, you just have to compare it to an authentic shrink wrap, and you'd be able to more or less know if your sealed booster box is actually sealed by Wizards and not some moron who decided to try to scam the system. Idiots. Just absolute idiots. So at this point, if you want to be 100% sure you're not getting BS'd around, you gotta buy from your local game store, people. You gotta buy from your local game store. Because you might buy from Amazon, and it comes like this. It looks like they're selling this wholesale. You can buy the shrink wrap. You know how to shrink wrap that damn thing together, and boom, you got... you're on your way to scamming people. All right, everyone, welcome to the morning show where we discuss all things Magic. Welcome, get your questions fired up, and let's have a great discussion this morning. Also, we do Decklist reviews, so if you got a 75 you'd like some feedback on, hey, submit it to us, and both myself and the coffee crew will give that feedback. So brew up your coffees, coffee crew, and let's brew up some Magic this morning. Welcome to Coffee and MTG for August 3rd, 2021. I am your host, Nikachu, the Merfolk Master. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning to Frederick. Good morning, MTG Box. Good morning, Mikey J. How long until MTG boosters basically come in a fro for his box? I don't know what that is. Andrew, good morning. Good morning, Rick, Tyler, 6mm, Ray, Gold Medals, 42 Smeagol, William, Vincent, the Iron Warlock, Andreas, Aaron, Formasusel, Ivan, Michael, Niels Nielsen. Good morning, Torborg. Mareep, good morning. Good morning, Mario. Good morning, Daniel. The Gippy Train. Good morning, Mario. Joe. Good morning, Harry. All right, excellent. And by the way, if there is a place that you can trust buying sealed product from, you better believe it's FusionGamingOnline.com. Sealed product, if you want to buy from them, is only available to Canadians. They can't send sealed product internationally. They can send singles, but not the sealed product. But the deal of the week this week, save 15% off old Jumpstart singles and sealed product. Again, sealed product only ships in Canada, but the singles ship anywhere. If 15% off is not enough, well, we're sponsored by Fusion Gaming Online, and you can get 5% off, an additional 5% off if you use coupon code Nikachu at checkout. We're also going to thank Mana Traders, the premier place to rent Magic cards online for Magic Online. To play any format, any deck, anytime, you can support the channel using my Mana Traders link in the description below, or save 15% off your first 2 months using coupon code Nikachu. All right, everyone, you know the drill. 3 question marks before the question, 3 question marks after the question helps me find your questions amongst all the comments I get on YouTube and my Facebook fan page. And you You can cheat the system, however, with super chats. Donate with a super chat on YouTube, and your question gets pushed to the top of my feed. Let's see. How long do you think Magic Gathering Online will survive? That is an interesting question. I think it still has a really long time to go. I mean, at least 10 years. They might revamp. They revamped it before, by the way. They might revamp it again. It's a weird client, though. It's weird to invest in Magic the Gathering Online when they want to put more resources probably into Arena. But Magic the Gathering Online is like the better segue into paper than Arena. Like, Arena only has like Standard, which translates to paper, and Historic, which does not translate to paper. Well, it never did, never will now. So whereas Magic the Gathering Online, all of them are paper formats. Pioneer, Commander, Modern, Standard, Legacy to some extent. So it's still going to be around for a little while. Addison says, should I bling out my burn deck or buying missing pieces for Blitz? I mean, you should definitely buy the missing pieces for Blitz. Here's the problem with blinging out your deck. Are you playing with your deck very much? That's a big deal when you bling out, when you pimp out your deck in all foil. And the thing is, like, you gotta, foils are expensive. Maybe they're less expensive now than in the past because people are believing less in foils, so you get a good price on your foils these days. But it's still more expensive than regular cards. And it's harder to get your value back when you sell it back to a store because they're so nitpicky about like the curvature and the clouding, and like any little nick on it is like it's a big problem. So you really are committed to your deck if you bling the thing out. And it's just more expensive. I would say it's not for everybody, but if you think you can be committed to burn for the next like 7 years, even if the deck sucks, go for it. I will admit, playing with foils is way more fun than not, but you got to be really committed to your deck. You can't be like, oh, I really like burn. I've been playing it for the last 3 months. You got to be like, I've been playing burn for the last 5 years. I love this deck. Even when it's good, when it's bad, I'm going to play it anyway. That's basically how it is, in my opinion. In my opinion. Underrated cards in Modern Horizons 2. I would say the only super underrated one was the, what was the burn spell? 1 red for 6 damage to a creature with Delirium. Oh, Unholy Heat. I think that was it. Aha. I think this is the only underrated card. This is a card that, like, no one really paid attention to it. And then it's like, it's stock now. It's just completely stock. Every deck plays this. Well, I don't know about every deck, but like it's a pretty high impact card because it can kill Primeval Titan for 1 mana. That's pretty big. That is mana efficiency. Magnetic Theft, a nice niche card to beat Hammer Time and Cauldra Stoneforge. 1 mana, attach target equipment to target creature. I wouldn't say so. Because remember, they still own the equipment. So, like, they could just re-equip it back to their creature if they wanted to. So, like, if your opponent has Pure Steel Paladin on the battlefield and you steal their hammer, I mean, you can do it at instant speed, which is nice. Who's this? Thor? Trying to grabbing for his hammer. Anyway, I don't think it'll be that effective. I think you're better if you're in the red colors. You're just better off blowing the hammer up. I think that would be more versatile. Hey, Nicholas. Wet Willy 1. In general, what decks in general should I play test against when brewing a new deck before an FNM? The best decks. All the tier 1 decks. You may not play against them, but you should still always be prepared for the top, like, 6 tier 1 decks. Because they're the hardest. Let's get Modern out. So you want to play test versus Hammer Time, 5-color elementals, the Is It Tempo deck, Crashing Footfalls, maybe Living End, maybe Urza's Kitchen, because that's pretty unique. I don't think it's very popular right now, though. But, like, I definitely like these top 5 decks easily. Sure, these black-red Ragavan decks. Ragavan, Dragon Rage, Chandler decks. Some splash white for Mardu, some splash blue for Grixis. But that's what he should do. Because they are the best decks. And then if you play against something from, like, way down below, like, you know, tier 3 stuff, you just have to hope the deck sucks enough that you can beat it, like, even without playtesting. Now, the exception to this rule is, like, if you know what's showing up in F, then playtest for it. Like, if you know there's 3 Tron decks in your meta, and there's only, like, 15 people that show up to your F&M, and that's, like, ends up being 20% of the metagame, then playtest for the most common decks. But if it's in the blind, playtest for the hardest stuff. Jack Torborg, do you think prices for the Eldraine staples in Modern are going to crash soon as we approach Standard rotation like Borrower, or is it that important to Cascade decks that it might not? I actually don't think the demand for these cards are being held up by Standard by very much. I think the demand for the Eldraine, like, because of COVID, no one needs the cards. So especially for paper, whatever the price of Brazen Borrower is, it's still the same. It's not going to change. Same thing with, like, Bone Crusher Giant. I think the price of these cards, I think the price of the adventure cards are tied to Modern more than Standard. So when it rotates, like, I don't actually expect, like, any change. Maybe a little bit online, maybe a little bit, because people do play Standard online. Oh yeah, we've got some good stuff. Hold on. Historic revealed more. Here, I found it. So Historic has revealed not only Svelune, which we knew was coming. We knew Svelune was coming, but Master the Pearl Trident. Now that is a very big upgrade for Merfolk in Historic. That is actually really big news, because now we have access to unblockable damage, because we are going to get probably Tide Shaper from Modern Horizons. You know, this card would have been useless coming out of Modern Horizons if we were not getting an Island Walk Lord. So it looks like we're getting an Island Walk Lord in the Jumpstart set for Historic. So that's a big boost for Merfolk. Now, is it enough to take Merfolk over the top? I don't know. It's painful out there well, you know what? Last I heard, there's, like, a lot of blue in Historic, and if that's the case, I think that's a good metagame for Merfolk. That's, like, very, very good. We'll very likely get Shaper. I mean, that would be the biggest bullshit tease ever of all time if we get Master of the Pearl Trident, but then they don't give us the Shaper. Sure, you can have Island Walk, but you just incidentally have to run into it. Is Borrow still part of the Merfolk Toolbox 2021? Yes, absolutely. I'm playing it right now. I think it's better than Merfolk Trickster at the moment. I think it's just better than Merfolk Trickster. Ray says, for budget fish, what is the order of importance for the expensive cards? Vial, Chalice, Forest, Cavern, Mutavault. I would get Vial first, Chalice second, Mutavault third, Force of Negation fourth, Cavern fifth. Cavern is definitely, like, the least important. Actually, I mean, maybe Force is more important than Mutavault, because you could play with Mishra's Factory, which is not bad. Not a bad replacement. Do you think Hollow One decks are too slow as of right now? They're not consistent enough. That's the problem. Like, it's not that they're too slow. Like, they can get some really big turn going on between, like, by turn 3. But the problem is, like, they're just not consistent enough. I mean, maybe you could call that slow because they don't have turn 1 Faithless looting, so they never have a big turn on turn 1. They never do. They have to depend on turns 2 and 3. So in some sense, maybe you can call it slow. Will the Great Henge ever go down in price? Ooh. I mean, yes, if they reprint it. You're just one reprint away from getting your cards cheaper. It's all tied to the reprint, people. It's all about the reprint. It's all about the reprint. This is very expensive for a card that doesn't see play anywhere. Except Commander, I guess. I mean, it was a Pioneer staple. Maybe it still is. I have no idea what's going on in Pioneer right now. Your best bet is reprint. I'm sure it's a Commander staple. Loading is boring. Are there any other crossovers you'd like to see, like Godzilla or D&D? I would like to see some sort of video game crossover. If we're going crazy, let's see a video game crossover. Wasn't there supposed to be a Lord of the Rings crossover? Where's the Lord of the Rings crossover? Like, that's the perfect crossover. But I don't see it. Where's the one ring as a soul ring? Anyway. What is Sliver missing for competitive play? Crystalline Sliver. They're missing this card. They just need this card, and I think they would be in really good shape. The main problem for Slivers, if you compare it to the other tribal decks, is that if you want their good abilities, you have to pay mana for them. There's very few Slivers that are like, pay 0 mana and get an effect, or ETB, get an effect. You usually have to like sink mana into it, and then you get the effect. Well, that's really hard for a creature deck that wants to spend all its mana to keep putting creatures on the battlefield, because if you're spending mana on the abilities, you're not spending mana putting more creatures on the battlefield. So that's like a big problem with the design of most Slivers, but you could make up for all of that if they reprinted Crystalline Sliver, which I thought they might do for 2 Modern Horizons in a row. They failed. They failed the Sliver community. Just outright failed them. Hey Nikachu, don't you think Arena is basically Hearthstone? Not really. Honestly, no. I mean, they're just... You know what's a funny thing about like these unique digital cards on Hearthstone? They're like, oh, this format is not Magic anymore. Look, every format is different from the other formats based on the mechanics in that format. Legacy has mechanics that Modern doesn't. Modern has mechanics that Pioneer doesn't. Pioneer has mechanics that Standard doesn't. Now Historic has mechanics that all the other formats don't have either. But it's still Magic. It's just a unique mechanic that can only be enforced by the online client. That's all. But it's the same deal. It's like saying Legacy's not Magic because we don't have any of those mechanics in Standard. I mean, it's sort of nonsense. So I'm fine with what they're doing on Arena. It's not a big deal. And as far as I'm concerned, Vintage is basically an online format now. A super chat. We got Mr. Stonehand. I've heard of Diamond Hands, but I've never heard of Stone Hands. Love your content, man. What's the best Planeswalker? Oko. Oko Thief of Crowns. You want to see the ban list for this one? Now this is for competitive play. I don't know what it's like for Commander play. Look at that resume. Standard, banned. Pioneer, banned. Modern, banned. Legacy, banned. Brawl, banned. Historic, banned. That is a fucking resume. Oko Thief of Crowns is undisputably the most powerful Planeswalker ever printed, and I think it's the feather in the cap is if it gets restricted in Vintage. If it's restricted in Vintage, that would be the icing on the cake. Is it so good in Commander? Oko in EDH2? Oko is pretty good in EDH2 since it neuters, commanders, any... Oh, that's true. True story. Okay. Scrum says, I have 5 Okos. I have 4 Okos. I can see them on my wall. For anyone who's watched like the super old discussion videos. I have a Super Friends deck commander with Oko. Yeah, that's it. This is the best planeswalker. You got him. There's nothing better than Oko. Okay, where are we? Have they released the challenge results? They have. Okay, so let's go check out. Where do I want to go? I like Reddit. Reddit's very good about. Ooh. Okay, we can't look at it because the service is unavailable. I really like looking at Reddit for this because Reddit is, they like show all the results down to the top 32 and they do it in a really clean fashion because I just want to see the deck lists. We might have to check it out another day. It's interesting. Reddit offline, or at least the Modern Magic subreddit is offline. The Gippy Train. What do you think of the competitive position of green-black food? Went 1-3 in Eternity. Deck felt powerful, but does it deal with combo decks? Is Azmarano too fair for Modern? I don't think Azmarano is too fair for Modern. I think Azmarano is actually quite unfair for Modern. It's definitely going to be competitive. I don't think... like, I see a green-black food deck here and there. I think it's still good. Doesn't it use, like, Thoughtseize and stuff for interaction? I think it's got a good interaction suite that you shouldn't be too worried. Okay, actually, we got the, some good news, people. I got it to work. It didn't time out. So apparently there's a Modern showcase on Saturday, not a Modern challenge. But whatever, this is an even more powerful tournament. I think the other day we saw the top 8. There's 3 elemental decks. Elemental deck in the top 8. 9th place, Murktide. We got some Hammer Time here. Bogles! What the hell? Bogle's just showing itself. We have a Niv to Light deck. Burn. We actually have a lot of old decks in here. Scape Shift. This is like a meta game from like, I don't know, 2 months ago. 2 more Hammer Times. A Darcy deck. Eldrazi-tron. I still think Eldrazi-tron's underrated, people. You might be sleeping on this thing. I think people are sleeping on Eldrazi-tron right now. What the fuck? Tron first and second place in a Modern challenge? What did it? I know it got set. It didn't get anything here. It's not here. Okay. The 4-color Valmochus. The combo deck. Got a lot of combo decks here. Blue-red Murktide, 4-color elementals. So it looks like we're now living in a new world of elementals. It's like tons of elementals, tons of Murktide, tons of Hammer Time. These are the top 3 decks right now. But let's see what happened on Sunday. Oh, Eldrazi-tron won first place. I told you. Didn't I just tell you just a second ago? Eldrazi, people are sleeping on Eldrazi-tron. This deck has all the fucking answers to this metagame right now. And it's got a relatively fast clock. Like, it's got all the disruption. It's got the lock pieces. It plays with main deck Chalice of the Void. It might have problems versus elementals. I don't know. Maybe it needs to go, like, Karn, get, like, Torpor Orb or something. Yeah, get out the Torpor Orbs. I don't know what to say at this point. Like, people just maybe don't believe in it for some reason. It's got all the tools. So we got Dreams of Ashiok representing Eldrazi-tron and winning with it. Probably just cleanly winning the whole thing. Elementals is literally mental. It is. It's crazy, crazy deck. How is Mono Green Tron faring? I've been Enchantress for the past month. It's not been doing well. It's been doing very poorly. I would say this is the first Green Tron list I've seen in a month. Like, just make any finish whatsoever. So let's go take a look to see what is it that they're doing that may be different from usual. Oh. Okay, so we have Karn Liberated. We got Karn the Great Creator, 2 Ugin, 1 Kozilek Butcher of Truth, 2 Ulamog, 2 Wormcoil Engine, 2 All Is Dust, Ancient String, Sylvan Scrying. Now that is interesting. Look at this, people. We have 3 Surgical Extraction, 3 Warping Whale in the main deck. That is some spicy decisions. So Warping Whale has the option of getting rid of Ragavan, can counter sorceries, which could be important. Things like bring to light. What else do they have to counter? I don't know, but they'll counter something, and they can ramp themselves up with the Scion creature token. So they can, even if they don't have Tron by turn 3, they'll at least have 4 mana by turn 4 to play Karn the Great Creator. And the Surgical Extraction, that is a very unique list. Do you think this is for... Oh, yeah, the Warping Whale actually is good. It hits the Cascade cards. It hits, like, Crashing Footfalls. It hits, yeah, that's about it. And I guess you can... I mean, against Living End, I guess you can counter Living End and then Surgical it away. This is very unusual, though. Yeah, but countering Footfalls doesn't seem like that big of a deal. Or maybe it is. Like, they play Shardless Agent, you counter the Footfalls, and you're like, I don't care. I just don't care. I don't care anymore. Then their clock is too slow. I mean, those decks are pretty slow, actually. I mean, if they don't get that Crashing Footfall, it's not a big deal. But, like, the Surgical Extraction... does it hit Living End, though? I mean, Warping Whale hits Living End. I don't know what the Surgical is for. Like, I know you could, like, counter a Living End and then Surgical it later, and then they'd be probably in pretty big trouble. What, in your opinion, is the reason Elementals is so good right now? If you played it, which version would you play, the Vile or Ephemerate? The Ephemerate version. Just so valuable. It's a deck that can play at instant speed, has massive card advantage with Risen Reef. It's just so ridiculous. It's so mana efficient and so powerful, and it can grind out almost anything. And they've got a lot of tools. Like, the fact that they can play with Endurance is a big deal, because that hits all the graveyard decks. Yeah, whoops. Surgical, does it hit the Murktide deck, though? Like, there needs to be a Murktide in the graveyard. If there's no Murktide on the graveyard, like, what are you going to do? Just Surgical one card to make it one card more expensive to cast Murktide? Anyway, we're analyzing to see what are the unique choices that got this list to get to second place. These are very unique choices. And that's a lot of cards, too, that they dedicated. Sideboard, Chalice of the Void, 2 Dismember, 1 Ensnaring Bridge, Liquid Metal Coating, a Sundering Titan, Crucible Worlds, Endurance, Force of Vigor, so they're not fucking around, 1 Oblivion Stone and Trinisphere, and no Torpor Orb. They're like, you know what, if you're playing Elementals, maybe they don't care, actually, about Elementals. Elementals is probably not a big thing, right? Elementals is probably nothing for them. Because it's a slow, clunky deck, and that's where Tron attacks. They attack the slow, clunky decks. Dan W, come on, Nikachu, you know that Tron pilots are scared of us fish. They've gone into hiding since Feilun landed. That could be true. I'm sure we are definitely there's a higher than 0% chance that we've contributed to Tron going into hibernation. Murktides frequently get into the art from Thought Scour, or you can dismember one and then Surgical it. Yeah, but that's 2 cards. That sort of sucks. If you Surgical Bauble, it's much harder to get Delirium. That could be a thing. That could be real. I could get behind that. Are we going to skip over a Sundering Titan? Where's the Sundering Titan? What, in the sideboard? Yeah, well, whatever. I mean, I don't care that much for this card. ETB or leaves the battlefield. Choose a land of each basic land type, then destroy those lands. Whatever. You can put whatever you want in the sideboard. Not that particularly impressed. So we would really need to hear from Yamas, too, what the Surgical Extraction is exactly for. Because there's a lot of ways of going wrong with this card. There's a lot of ways to go wrong with this card. I mean, we don't know. That's what we're trying to unravel here. I think a lot of suggestions people like. I could buy the Mishra's Bauble one, but there's a lot of situations this is gonna suck. I just think it sucks. Well, maybe not. I mean, this deck got second place, so they had a reason for this. They had a real reason. They probably don't need Void Mirror because they're running Chalice. So you just like Karn the Great Creator, fetch Chalice, played on 0 pass. Well, anyway. So that's G-Tron. This is the Sunday results. Okay, so we had 2 Tron decks at the top, a Jeskai Control, Grixis Darcy, Mono White Hammer, Elemental, Shardless Rug, Nettlesest Weenies. That I've never heard about that. Ingenious Smith. It's like a crappier Hammer Time deck, honestly. It's like Hammer Time, but not really focused on hitting people with a hammer. It's like a more mid-range version of Hammer Time, basically. You're relying on Nettle Cyst and Cranial Plating. Can we see the E-Tron first place list? Sure. Okay, so we have 4 Karn the Great Crater, an Endbringer, Matter Reshaper, Reality Smasher, Thought Knot Seer, 3 Walking Ballista, 1 All Is Dust, 4 Dismember, 2 Warping Whale, a Basilisk Collar in the main deck, Chalice of the Void, Expedition map, lands, 2 Blast Zone, 1 Cavern, 4 Eldrazi Temple, an Urborg. You see the tech now. They're afraid of the Void Mirror. They're afraid. They got to be prepared for the Void Mirror. Urza's Mine Power Plant, 2 Urza's Saga. That's okay, so that's an upgrade. That's an upgrade. Not everyone plays that. And I guess that is just to get the Basilisk Collar. Is it really better than, say, Shadow Spear? I think this deck could play Shadow Spear for the, but like Basilisk Collar combos with Endbringer because you can tap, deal damage to 1 creature and then kill it. There's no Chalice in the sideboard because they have all 4 in the main deck. I don't think they want 1 Chalice in the sideboard. They want to maximize how many times they can draw it in game 1. Or like by turn 2. Walking Ballista, Cage, Liquid Metal Coating, Ratchet Bomb, Soul Guide Lantern, Sundering Titan. Again, the Sundering Titan. Torpor Orb, Wormcoil Engine, Ensnaring Bridge, Kozilek. Let's beat those mill decks. Pithing Needle, Sky Sovereign, Console Ship, Spatial Contortion, Tormod's Cryptonosphere. Oh yeah, Basilisk also combos with the Ballista. Honestly, pretty stock list overall. Only new additions are like Urborg, 2 Urza Saga, and a Basilisk Collar. Everything else is pretty stock. It's all you need. I'm telling you, people are sleeping on Eldrazi Tron. Maybe I should be playing this deck. They can get the map, but I don't think that's going to be the best value out of this card. I think the value that they get out of Urza Saga is they get to make those construct tokens, and then they can find like a Basilisk Collar and get some damage in. Between Blood Moon and Void Mirror, they are very locked. No, if they only need 1 waste, and they can play stuff through Blood Moon. And there's like that's a colorless deck, right? So Blood Moon does not shut down Eldrazi Tron. So Blood Moon makes casting Endbringer difficult because they need that colorless mana symbol. Matter Reshaper, Smasher, Thought Knot Seer, but they can cast everything else in their deck. They can cast Walking Ballista, All Is Dust, Dismember, not Warping Whale, Chalice of the Void, and they can cast Expedition Map to find the waste to play around Blood Moon if necessary. Nikachu, what do you think of the disappearance of Stoneforge Mystic decks? If you were headed to a competition, would you pack any hate for Stoneforge? The only hate that I think I need to pack is just removal. I think Stoneblade is doing fine. It's not doing great because there's just a lot of removal in the format, but it's still there. Like, it's still around. It's hanging in there. Even by a thread. Here, see? Jeskai Stoneblade. We have 1 Jeskai Stoneblade deck. Where else? We have an Orzhov Stoneblade. It's around. It's around. Hold on, I don't feel like we properly analyzed all these deck lists. Okay, so there's a Murktide, Elementals, a Reanimator, another Elementals by Canister. Elementals. Elementals might come up to be like the best deck in the format. Because, I mean, there are hate pieces for Elementals. Like, I think, Blood Moon sort of hits it. If you play a Blood Moon versus Elementals, now you force them to play only 2-for-1s. But they can still cast cards. Ooh, a Blue Moon list. And Twiddlestorm. Probably the... Twiddlestorm is probably the only way to play Storm right now in Modern. A lot of elementals. Wow, the elementals are taking over. Aaron says, I love the Sundering Titan with all the 3 to 4 color mana bases walking around. That's right. You just blow them all up. It's probably well positioned. Yo, which cards from Modern Horizons 2 do you think is most likely to get banned? The most likely cards, Urza's Saga, Azmarano, Marduk Dastan Akuldakar, and Ragavan. I think those are the most likely cards to get banned. Everything else is sort of okay. I doubt it, but maybe Dragon Rage Chandler. Maybe. That's possible. Like, maybe they'll hit Dragon Rage Chandler because they don't want to hit the monkey. But, and I'm not saying, like, there's any chance of these cards definitely getting banned, but, like those are the best chance of like anything in the set. I think they have the best chances. Eclipse, what do you think about Lantern Control with Urza's Saga? Is it enough to revive the archetype? No. I think the Lantern Control's main problem is they cannot empty their hand fast enough to get Ensnaring Bridge online. Like, they needed Opal. They needed Mox Opal, and they don't have that anymore. Urza's Saga definitely upgrades the deck by a lot, not gonna lie. It's very good, but, like, it's not enough. They needed to get their lock on the board as soon as possible, and they just cannot do that right now, and the format is just way too fast. Not to mention, like, people use the graveyard very well right now, so because they use the graveyard, Lantern has less power, because their power was to put your best cards into your graveyard. But if you can use those cards in your graveyard, or utilize your graveyard in some way, now it's not so powerful. Does Void Mirror stop Fairy Macabra's ability? No, because it's not being cast. Let me take a look on. I think Void Mirror does not stop abilities. It's just cards that are cast. Yeah, whenever a player casts a spell, if no colored mana was spent to cast it, counter that spell. Fairy Macabra's ability is an ability, so it's not being cast. Is Kozilek just an auto win versus Mills on sideboard? Let's see. Kozilek. When Kozilek, Butcher of Truth, is put into a graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. No, because you can surgical extract this thing. There is a card that I thought if it were to go into the graveyard, it goes into your library instead. But this was, if it's put into a graveyard from anywhere, its owner shuffles their graveyard into their library. So in response, with this trigger on the stack, they can surgically extract this and then be done with it. So they can still beat a Kozilek, Butcher of Truth. It's just a beating. It's just like if you're up against a burn deck and you gain 20 life, or even 15 life. That's gonna make their job a lot harder, right? Just a lot harder. But they can still win through it. It's not an auto win. Answer that. Dang, every week new decks pop up in the top 32 of challenges. I think this is the most balanced Modern is in recent years. It is! Modern is super balanced, super fluid right now. I understand there's a lot of people that are very upset with Modern because, like, their favorite deck may not be well positioned in this new Modern, but it's really diverse. It's really diverse. You look at these results. I mean, this is a really balanced format, even though we have Eldrazi Tron, Jeskai Control, Grixis Darcy, a Hammer Time deck, Elementals, Shardless Rug, some sort of, like, weenie deck. Black-white weenie. Stoneblade. It's really a Stoneblade deck. Why do they call it this? We have a Murktide deck. We have Reanimator. We got Esper Control. We got Living End. We got Blue-Red Prowess. We have Boros Burn. We got Stoneblade again. Bant Stoneblade. Domain Zoo. Heliod Company. Scape Shift. Twiddlestorm. Mill. Blue Moon. Jund. Even Jund fucking squeezed in there. We got Jund in here, people. Fucking Boomer. Okay, let's see if it's really Boomer. See, that's how you upgrade the Jund deck. I'm telling you, people. The Jund players, they gotta fuck off with their old garbage. They gotta play the new cards. Ragavan, excellent addition into this deck. Dazi Voidwalker. Excellent addition to the deck. Get rid of that. Bloodbraid Elf. Super overrated. Liliana the Veil. Super overrated right now. Like, they're no good. And they get to utilize Lurrus in this deck. That's all you gotta do. You just gotta upgrade your fucking cards. Play the good card. Tarmogoyf is still good. Tarmogoyf is still good, but Liliana the Veil, it does fuck all. It's 3 mana. Make your opponent sacrifice their worst creature, which could be like a token at that point. Like, Jund actually has a lot of things going for it. Like, it's got good stuff. Like, it's still got Thoughtseize and great removal, but their win conditions were trash. Like, you know, Dark Confidant's no good. Tarmogoyf is still good. You know, the fact that this thing can become like 5/6, 6/7, very impressive still. And like, they got Seal of Fire and Mishra's Bauble to make sure that actually gets pulled off. I like this list. This is a nice list. This is a clean list by Musasabi, who got 32nd place. And I think it's still going to play very similarly to a regular, like, Jund list. Like, there's nothing different about this. And it's not blazing fast like Death Shadow, or it doesn't put your life total in danger like a Death Shadow deck will. It probably, I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but it probably could just play Dragon Rage Channeler. Tarmy is still good these days. The guy packing Merfolk Trickster, yes, I think Tarmogoyf is still good these days. Even with Merfolk Trickster, because it's hard to get rid of that Tarmogoyf, because if they want to, they can kill the Trickster in response. Where's 8-Rack? It's funny, everyone's asking, 8-Rack isn't a deck right now. Hasn't been for a very long time. You people on Decklist review, you gotta prove it. We're giving the feedback for 8-Rack decks. Are you married? Not officially. I know, as people are like noticing I got a ring for my wife, like, I don't know, like last year. But I never went out to get my own, because every single time I'm at a jewelry store, like, I hate everything. But then there was randomly our jewelry store really close by. I didn't even know it existed. And it turns out they had what I wanted, but it wasn't in gold. And I asked it in gold, and boom, I got it. Thank you, Alex Bertoncini. Thank you, Alex Bertoncini. Ad revenue from that video helped pay for this ring. Or our rings, I should say. Alex Bertoncini contributed to my marriage. Yeah, married to the hustle, that's right. Spencer Ward says, I'm so old school, hearing Jund did well without Liliana feels like I woke up in a parallel universe. But Liliana is garbage. Like, I don't know at what point, like, it's not good. Like, it hasn't been for maybe a very long time. I'm telling the Jund community, you gotta fucking cut these boomer cards. Like, you gotta let go of 2013. We're living in 2021. You gotta let go of these cards. And it might be hard for a lot of them, because I swear they probably own them in foil. They own play sets of, like, foil Judge promo Dark Confidant. They've got Pro Tour promo foil Liliana the Veil in play sets. And I'm like, I don't want to change these cards. And here's like, and if more people can adopt Musasabi's deck, I don't even know if this is like the deck. I don't even know if this is like the best version of this deck. There could be even better versions out there. Because the creature base seems a bit weird. But, you know, Jund is always used to like 1-ofs, 2-ofs, and stuff like that. So maybe it's not too unusual. Like, I might want to... Well, I don't know how... Like, I'd love to have a third Crocs in here. But maybe that's too clunky. Crocs is probably better than Liliana at this point. The Drosh looks sweet too. I mean, yeah, if you want to attack your like combo decks, probably Crocs is good enough, honestly. R.I.P. Jund waifu. Yeah, that's right. Well, like, what do you get out of this? 3 mana. Your opponent sacks like their worst creature on the battlefield, which can be like an Ornithopter today, which is just useless. Or like the crappiest prowess creature. And then it will 100% die the next turn. Like, you cannot untap with Liliana the Veil in 2021. Your other option is you just tick it up and each player discards a card, which is also not very valuable. Like they're in a much slower boomer metagame. The +1 on Liliana the Veil was very strong. Now it's nothing. It's like your opponent's hand is fucking empty these days. By the time you get Liliana the Veil out, it just doesn't matter. That's right, more like Alex Bertonchetti. Alexis, hey Nikachu, I'm watching on the streams channel, but what's YouTube's algorithm suggests? Because it's what YouTube's algorithm suggests to me by default. Interesting. Maybe you're sub there, or maybe because you keep going there, that it's like, hey, they like going to the streams channel. The art is hot. That'll be eternal. That metagame's not changing. Is it worth just selling them right now or hold? You know, they fetch a pretty penny. $89 for Liliana the Veil. The thing is, I don't know if we've seen the end of Liliana the Veil. It's just very badly positioned today. But I at the same time, I don't know if like the Liliana the Veil is ever going to come back to playability. Like also in Legacy, like does Liliana the Veil see much play? I don't think she sees a whole lot of play. She sees play, but not great play. Ragavan could be the same story as Uro? Possibly, possibly. We know Ragavan's very strong right now. Maybe it'll take a year for like the rest of the world to catch up. Do not sell cards unless you need money or have a plan for that money. There we go. Mikey J reminding everyone. But the thing is, like, Liliana the Veil is tying up a lot of your value. The real question, especially when it comes to Liliana the Veil, like, is she going up? Anyway, I can't say whether it's the right time to sell this thing or not. For all I know, like, a black control deck will come out of nowhere, like, I don't know, Grixis control with Liliana the Veil. Textless Liliana the Veil for the win. Yeah, they haven't done that one yet. And she is full art. Well, that's got to be a little bit more complicated. Full art Planeswalkers. I ditched my cryptics from fairies, and I'm afraid they'll never come back. What, the cryptics or the fairies? I just got rid of my veils. Oh, your Liliana the Veil. Anyway, I think I can tell you with certainty, Liliana the Veil is so bad right now. Just so bad in Modern. It's not it's not a debatable thing. And the people who want to hold on to Liliana the Veil, like you're just handicapping your deck. I really can't put it any other way. It was really hyped, but is anyone actually playing Grief? Yep. Living End is playing. Oh, there's actually a lot of Grief decks. So this Orzhov Stoneblade deck is playing Grief. Some number. It was overrated. It was like grossly overrated. Super grossly overrated, but it's a playable card. Grief is being played in Living End. And I think that's it. I don't think any elemental deck is playing Grief. Even though they could. It's just too awkward on their mana. Because they don't have any black cards in their deck. So it sees play. And I think it's in some other Reanimator decks. It sees play. It's just not OP like everyone thought it was going to be. It's like a pretty fair card. If you don't have that Ephemerate in your starting hand, the Grief sucks. And I think Grief is just best placed in a combo deck anyway. Living End plays Grief. What do you think of the Valmochus turns in the meta right now? Great, because I think they're attacking on an angle that most people aren't, like defending, because they don't rely on their graveyard, right? Where is this? It's called this Woo. One problem is that they gotta name it properly on MTG Goldfish. Like no one wants to like look at, oh, it's Wurg. That must be some random 4-color deck. Like this deck has some real. Is this it? No, this is not the Valmochus deck. This is some other weird. No, maybe. Is this its own archetype? Is this deck more popular than I thought it was? Oh no. Okay, so okay, yeah, there are Valmochus decks out there. It's being mixed in with other decks. Oh, I clicked on the same thing again. Okay, Mind Candy. Yeah, here's the Valmochus deck. So it's a deck where you like, whenever it has haste when it enters the battlefield, it attacks. Look at the top 7 cards of your library. You can cast an instant or sorcery spell. But the point is, you try to get an extra, multiple extra attacks with this, or multiple extra turns. So you attack, get time warp, attack again, find another time warp, or get extra attacks. You have also savor the moment. Take an extra turn after this one. Skip the untap step of that turn. You don't care. You just keep attacking with this thing. I think it's attacking on an angle that people aren't defending. Very, pretty underrated combo deck right now. Not many people playing it. Not many people. There's a very specific number of people playing it. Like this Rooney guy. Rooney is playing it. Mr. Reeb is playing it. Mana Symbol is playing it. See, Mana Symbol, Reeb. So there's like a few people playing it often, and it's over-representing its results. But they're consistently putting up results, which means it's like, it's worth it. Like, it's a pretty real deck, in my opinion. I'm guessing Hard Evidence is to block Ragavan. No, Hard Evidence is just a random creature to blow up and then polymorph into an Emrakul. I mean, it can block Ragavan too, though. All right, people. You know what time it is, Coffee Crew. It's time to get into Decklist review. So if you got a 75 you'd like some feedback on, hey, submit it to us. Go into my description. In my description, there is a link to my Discord. Join my Discord. And then in my Discord, go to the channel Decklist Review. And once you're there, enter the command !review deck space, give the URL to your decklist, and you'll be eligible at random people for Decklist Review. And yeah, I know there's a million people, but that's how Decklist Review works. You can't pay to win at everything. Gotta be fair in some cases. All right, let's start reviewing decks. We got Eric's 74 playing a mono black deck, it looks like. It's coffee refill. Why? Hey, you refill your coffees while you're out there. Is It Blitz a good deck to invest in Modern? I think it's pretty good, actually. It still holds its own. It is a worthy deck, and it's still very super powerful. I think it's a very good deck to actually invest in, because even if they ban, for example, Manamorphose, I think that deck is still very strong. Yeah, no pay-to-win deck review. Respect. You can see the replay Roland about the counterfeit shrink wraps. Okay, what do we got here? We've got Tarash, Davriel, Liliana. Do we have another rack deck? This is like the third fucking rack deck we've reviewed in like 3 days. Do I have to just like start playtesting the rack until it wins? What's with all these rack decks? Everyone wants rack to work. I still think we should have Urza's Saga into the rack. Like, I think that should be a real thing. I understand Mishra's people love Mishra's Factory. I think it has application in the format, but early on in the game, I think you're going to be playing all these cards anyway. And if you have Urza's Saga, you can find your racks, which increases the chance of you having your win condition. Oh, this is Legacy? Holy shit, I didn't even realize that. Chris Ross. Look at the big brain on Chris Ross. Or how do I put that? Sharp eyes. It's not rack without Liliana. Well, it is now. Yeah, we did have Tom Ross on. I think they're trolling you with the 8 rack decks. Maybe, or they really want to make this work. But are we really utilizing the best cards out of Legacy? I mean, this is hands down worse than Liliana the Veil. Is it budget? You don't have anything for us here. You seriously have a Legacy deck? Well, Liliana the Veil is way better than Waker of the Dead. I know it's just shit-talking Liliana the Veil in Modern. Davriel is fine. It's you know what? Okay, yeah, I agreed. It is budget. You can just look at the cards, how cheap they are. Okay, So we're gonna assume it's on a budget, and that means Liliana the Veil is way out of the price range because the legacy meta, or sorry, the modern meta has not caught up, and Liliana the Veil is still worth $90. So what can we do here? Tarash, Davriel, Liliana the Waker of the Dead, Cling to Dust, Duress, Fatal Push. Like Duress is not even the best, one of the best cards. What is? We're missing the card that perpetually makes your opponent discard cards. I don't even think Sudden Edict is even that good. Yeah, everything costs money. To make 12 rack sources without taxing nearly the mana. Well, I don't think playing Urza Saga taxes the mana all that much, especially if you played Urborg, but Urborg costs money, so we can't play that card. Raven's Crime. Yeah, we need this card. Like, it's very important. And it's not even expensive. Come on, you can afford this. I mean, it might actually be one of the more expensive play sets in your deck. It's gonna be like $3.60 when it's all said and done, or $3.70. But you need to play this. So take out Sudden Edict, or maybe take out Liliana. This is not important. Take out like 3 Liliana. Like, this is too expensive for Legacy anyway. So take out 3 Liliana. And I don't know, maybe a Cling to Dust. Do you really need Cling to Dust? It might be more of a sideboard card than anything else. And then add 4 Raven's Crime, because what this does is it turns all your extra lands into discard cards. And you need, like, because if you don't have Raven's Crime in your deck, your opponent easily will just hoard cards in their hand, and like, it doesn't matter how many like duresses you have. They're just going to keep cards in their hand, and they'll stay out of range of dying to the Rack and Shrieking Affliction. 3 mana Lily is too expensive, so this is a budget deck. I like the Hymn to Tarok. That's pretty cool. That's a good idea. Innocent Blood is okay. So how many we have? Duress, Hymn, Smallpox. I wish you had more ways of... You have to have 4 racks. Like, if you don't... You need to have your win condition in the deck. So we'll take out 3 Liliana Waker of the Dead, probably 1 Cling to Dust for the 4 Raven's Crime, and then maybe Feed the Swarm. Take out Feed the Swarm and then add another rack. I think that'll be okay. Cabal Therapy should be modern legal. I guess. I think modern could suck it up. Hypnotic Spectre is too slow. 3 mana, do nothing, no good. Urborg is great, but I don't think they can afford it. This is a very budget deck. They have 1 Urza Saga. That's amazing. You know what? You really need the black sources in this deck. Or maybe you don't. But I think you should have 16. I think you should honestly have 16 black sources. So maybe remove 1 Mishra's Factory for this Urza Saga. Why no Grief? Because it's completely unnecessary. You 2 for 1 yourself. This is not a Grief deck, that's for sure. What do you got in the sideboard? And whoa, oh, Engineer Explosives is so cheap that even a budget deck can buy it. Engineer Explosives, so cheap even the budget players can play it. Bloodchief's Thirst, Eliminate, Ratchet Bomb, Wrench Mine. Probably should be in the main deck. Or I don't know. It can be fine in the sideboard. Court of Ambition. This has got to be something better than this. ETB, you become the Monarch at the beginning of your upkeep. Each one loses 3 life unless they discard a card. If you're the Monarch instead, each opponent loses 6 life. Too much. It's too much mana. 4 mana is too much mana, in my opinion. Dump this card. Massacre, Ravenous Trap. These are all fine cards. Maybe you should just have a second Engineered Explosives instead of the Court of Ambition. Why play Explosives in mono black? That is a good question, actually. Because the at 1 mana it blows these things up. Maybe they want it at 0 mana. Yeah, maybe Engineer Explosive is not good, but they're also playing Ratchet Bomb. Maybe they need it for 0 mana for some reason. Inquisition's too much money. Damnation's too much money. Too much money! Come on, we're playing on a budget here. This is Busto 8 rack. This is Busto 8 rack. Nighthawk Scavenger, maybe. I just noticed you have a 21 land deck and you have 3 drops in it. You actually might want to go up a land. And then if you play Raven's Crime, having extra lands in your deck is not a big deal because the excess lands just get like discarded for Raven's Crime anyway. Blackmail over duress. Target player reveals 3 cards from his or her hand. You choose one of them. That player discards a card. I think on turn 1, this card's very bad. Dark Ritual is card disadvantage. It's only good in combo decks. This isn't really a combo deck. It's like more of a control deck. Bantu's Last Reckoning is good, but is it a... Bantu's Last Reckoning... But is it affordable? Oh, it is affordable. All right. Okay, so maybe instead of the Engineered Explosives, we play with some Bantu's... Like, instead of a Court of Ambition and Engineered Explosives, we play with Bantu's Last Reckoning. It's possible Massacre takes that slot anyway. Anyway, so that's all our feedback. Good luck with the list. 8 rack in Legacy. Gray Armor, congratulations. You're the next contestant on Decklist review. We have a Rakdos Madness deck in Modern. Budget online, 16 ticks. It's crazy. That's very impressive, actually. So if you want to play some budget deck in Modern, maybe this could be it. Rakdos Mat. Is it supposed to be a budget deck? It is a budget deck for Magic the Gathering Online. All right. So the cards you suggest, it gotta be cheap online. Gray Armor is like, oh shit! I've been chosen. You're the chosen one. You are the chosen one. You're supposed to bring life to Rakdos, not destroy it. Okay, what do we got here? Blazing Root Walla. Red 1/1 creature. You can pay a red to give it +2/+0. You can only do it once a turn, but it has madness at 0. So if you discard a card, you can just discard this and just put it directly into play for nothing. Insolent Neonate. Discard a card. Draw a card. You also have to sacrifice this thing. Conspiracy Theorist. 2/2 creature. Whenever it attacks, you can pay 1 and discard a card. If you do draw a card, that's a pretty good card in this deck. Whenever you discard 1 or more non-land cards, you may exile one of them from your graveyard. If you do, you may cast it this turn. That's pretty good card advantage in this deck. Heir of Falconwrath. Discard a card, transform it, so you get immediately a sort of a Delverish card. I'm not really impressed with this card, to be honest. Immerstrom Raider. Enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do draw a card, that's pretty good. Rakdos Headliner, Haste, Echo, discard a card. This thing's fine. Like, honestly, 2 mana for a 3/3 haste is not that great. We just have to make sure we make use out of these discard outlets. And Kitchen Imp, flying haste, and it's got madness for a black. Although this card, again, also not very impressive, but hopefully we can overwhelm them. Faithless Salvaging. Discard a card, then draw a card, rebound. Elms of Vain. Target opponent loses 3 life. You gain 3 life. Okay, this is worth it. And Fiery Temper. Smuggler's Copter. Okay, so one problem I have here is you don't have many payoffs. Like, you have almost no payoffs for discarding cards. You're literally just going to be discarding cards for the sake of it. You're going to be discarding cards mostly. Like, you have 12? You have 12 cards that get a payoff. I don't think that's enough. Does anyone else know of good Madness cards? Like, otherwise you're just usually just discarding cards. This is just card disadvantage of the deck. Maybe Hollow One? Is Hollow One... Okay, now is Hollow One cheap enough? Oops. Also, the deck might not be able to... Where's graphs? I want to see some graphs. I don't see any graphs here. lost the graphs. Show me the graphs. Maybe it didn't load properly. I want to know the price of this card online. I don't know how to find that. Asylum Visitor? Like, we need one of two things. Either better, more madness cards, or cards that when they go to the graveyard, we can make use of them. But they need to be budget. Ugh, everything's slow right now. And why isn't it showing me? The price of this damn thing. What's wrong with MTG Goldfish right now? All printings. Oh, ticks. $1. Our Devastation foil you can get for 0.46 ticks, so maybe this can work. How much do you have to spend? Like, that one problem is you're not discarding a lot of cards per turn. Well, you could, I guess. You could Rakdos Headliner turn 2, Echo, discard a card, then play something else, discard a card, and then play the hollow one. Yeah, Hollow One is affordable. I don't know if it's the best card in this deck. The fuck is this Asylum Visitor? At the beginning of each player's upkeep, if that player has no cards in a hand, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. And has Madness for 2? I don't like it, to be honest. I really don't like it. I think a 3/1 creature that's trying to draw cards and lose life is sort of shit. Okay, what else do we got? Well, Cathartic Reunion doesn't change the fact that we have no payoff for our discarded cards. So the one, Flamewake Phoenix, yeah, no, Phoenix needs 4 power creatures in play. Flameblade Adapt is like, you need way more discard outlets. This doesn't, okay, look, people. Maybe you're not getting what I'm trying to get at here. We have infinite ways of discarding cards. Everything makes us discard cards, but the problem is we don't have enough things to get value out of our discards. Like, okay, if we discard a card, we can discard Blazing Root Waller, play it for free. That's great. But the problem is we don't have enough of these cards so that the discard of this deck makes up for, like, if we were discarding cards all game, we're gonna snap lose. Simple as that. We're just gonna run out of cards really quickly. So what we need is value out of our discards. Blazing Rootwalla, Elms of the Vein, Fiery Temper, but the list ends there. That's it. We have 12 cards. Only 12 cards. Only 12 cards that prevent us from card disadvantage. Because everything else... Oh, sorry. We have 16. We have Kitchenette. We have 16. Is that enough? Conspiracy. Whenever it attacks, you can pay whenever you discard 1 or more non-land cards. You may exile 1 of them from your graveyard. If you do, you may cast it this turn. Okay, maybe I'm wrong. Okay, with Conspiracy Theorist, we then move up to 20. I would have to see how this deck plays out. Because maybe we have enough with Conspiracy Theorist. Because that does move us up to 20 cards that get value out of stuff. It feels okay? Yeah, I'm just recognizing that it's you have more than 12. Okay, let's look at the mana base. Okay, hold on. Mana base, Blackcleave Cliffs, Blood Crypt, 4 Mountain, 4 Sulphurous Springs, 4 Swamp. How many you need? Black by turn 2. 6, 14. Yeah, the mana base is good. You have Lightning Axe, Pithing Needle, Relic, Damping Sphere, Defense Grid. It's an interesting choice, and Roiling Vortex in the sideboard. Maybe the list is sound. I am not the biggest fan of... What is this thing? When it enters the battlefield, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Not the biggest fan of Heir of Falconwrath. but I guess it's okay. It, again, helps you with your discard strategy. Terry Dactyl, I'd rather have the time I can afford to put towards Magic to go towards playing the game. I don't want it to be my entire lifestyle. I have other important stuff to do. I don't know where the hell that came from, but okay. You know what? Flameblade, I don't know if there's enough discard outlets for Flameblade Adept to be good. Because Flameblade Adept is great when you're drawing tons of cards and discarding tons of cards, which you could do with Burning Inquiry, Cathartic Reunion, and so on. But it is an option. Like, it's not terrible. It would be... And it would be a decent one-drop. Maybe it's better than Smuggler's Copter, but Smuggler's Copter is also quite good. Okay, Asmarano. Oh! That is a pretty... but the problem is if we add Asmarano, we gotta add the Cookbook, then we gotta add the Daredevil, and I don't know if we have enough room for all that. But maybe we do. Like, if we get the Cookbook combo going, can that help this deck in any way? If we're constantly discarding cards... Problem is Asmarano's not cheap. This is a budget deck. Anyway, so we'll stay away from it. Well, how much is Asmarano? Not the most expensive card. Actually, it's quite affordable at $1. Chris Ross says 4 Lacerator, 4 Gorger Ghast, 4 Fury Blade, 4 Storm Kirk, Condemn, 2 Captivating, 1 Bloodline Keeper, 1 Olivia. Boom. Mad Vamps. So just replace everything and play around around the era of Falcon Wrath. Thank you very much for the super chat, Chris. I really appreciate it. What's the point of Fiery Tempo? Just play Bolt? The point... Now, this is a great question. What is the point of Fiery Temper? The point is that you got to discard a card no matter what. Let's say you have Lightning Bolt in your hand, and then you have to discard to, I don't know, Rakdos Headliner for Echo. You would lose your Lightning Bolt, but instead you can discard the Fiery Temper and get the madness out of it. So the point is you have to discard a lot of cards in this deck, but when you discard a card, you at least get some value out of it. So it's like discard wasn't even a downside. ZG Christ, thank you very much for the super chats, the $10. Hey Nikachu, thank you for the advice on Bluetron last week. Went to my first Modern Monday at my local game store last night, and I'm at 64 main deck and wanted your opinion on a cut. My name on Goldfish is GVSTB. Okay, hold on. I will try to get back to you, but I just want to finish off this deck list. Okay, so first off, the list is clean. The list is really squeaky clean. I actually think you have a very clean list. It's a very nice list. Smuggler's Copter may or may not be very powerful right now in Modern, only because, well, it's sort of clunky. It prevents you from ever blocking because you have to tap things down. It might be awkward. It might be awkward. Maybe this could be cut for something else. I don't know. I'm going to keep everything else in the deck as it is. I think you chose relatively good cards. There might be, in some world, Smuggler's Copter could be something else. Like, what's it called? Like, maybe Flameblade Adept. Maybe Hollow One in some world. But for the most part, I think you have a very clean list. I think it's also very well thought out as well. At first, it didn't look like you had enough payoffs, but I think I'm hoping Conspiracy Theorist is good enough. It might not, because it's just like it's a 2-mana, enter the battlefield, and it does nothing, and you got to wait until you untap and you have mana to get actually some value out of this thing. Links aren't banned, but I can't actually click on any of them. I can only click on things in my Discord. It's just the way my client works. Because I think the idea, because I click on your comments and then they show up here. And then if, well, the links aren't banned. It's just that when I click on your comments, they don't let me click on the link part of the link. Like if you post a link, other people in chat can click on it. I can't. Because whenever I click on your stuff. Oh, Bone Shards is an interesting suggestion. But I think Lightning Axe... Hold on. Is it better than Lightning Axe? Deals 5 damage to target creature, but it's an instant. That's the difference. And in theory, you could pay 6 mana for this. Anyway, thank you very much for submitting the deck list. I would say try it out, and then if there are problems, resubmit it back, and then explain where you think the weaknesses are. If I were to take a guess, I would say Smuggler's Copter and Conspiracy Theorist might be the largest problems of the deck. This is a bit clunky because you have to tap down your creatures in order to attack with it. And also, Conspiracy Theorist doesn't do anything immediately, and you sort of have to play it, hope that you get to untap with it, and then get value out of it. Whereas everything else, you can get immediate value, more or less, except for maybe like, well, you can get immediate value out of Rakdos Headliner. Pay 2 mana, attack for 3 mana, get in the 3 damage. But that's where I am. Bone Shards can be there instead of Lightning Axe. I think the instant speed, well, yeah, instant speed is important. Like, the only thing Lightning Axe doesn't kill is Primeval Titan. But you couldn't kill it with the Bone Shards anyway, because it's a sorcery. Anyway, thank you very much for submitting the deck list. Really nice list. Very unique and fresh. Okay, so what is going on here? My name is GVSTB. I mean, the easiest answer is your stuff. Oh, your stuff isn't public. None of your stuff is public. Look, post it really quickly in Decklist Review if you can post a link. Just post it in Decklist Review. I will get to it. Or like if you can't even do that, like, well, I'm just thinking, what is the fastest way I can do this? Cut card. Okay, well, while you do that, mono blue. Gotta look up mono blue Tron. How to look up mono blue Tron. And I look up repeal, the card, and then look up the decks that play repeal. Mono blue Tron. And then we can, like, it's funny, like, it's being overrun by these budget decks. Oh, Cactus Man also is able to get a 5-0 out of this. It's pretty sick. Yeah, I review anything but Limited and Commander. So I'm definitely not, yeah, we don't do Commander decks. Because it just, first off, I don't know all the cards, and it's like 100 fucking cards. I'm not reading all those things. Yeah, not a full review. We're just going to cut 4 cards. We're going to chop out 4 cards. Take note, people. $99.996 gets your deck list reviewed. Yeah, we're just cutting cards. But you gotta post it. I don't have access. Is this it? I give you 5 minutes to post. Okay, so I'll tell you what. ZG Christ, I give you 5 minutes to be able to post publicly on Decklist Review in my Discord. Maybe you don't use the Discord, I don't know. But I can't look you up because you got nothing here. Looks like there aren't many great matches for your search, probably because you're not public on well, what if I got rid of the MTG Goldfish? LinkedIn, SoundCloud, not good enough. There are no results here. So while we wait, just answer some questions. Honestly, you should charge for Decklist Review. I'd pay $5 to $10 to get reviewed. My time is money, but so is my brain energy. The problem is reading deck lists is like more exhausting than anything else because I have to like sort of interpret and understand the cards and how they interact with things. It's like the highest energy. It's the most stimulating. It's like more stimulating than I want it to be. So if I do decklist review all day, and like some reviews can go on for forever, you know. If you try, it would be actually if I charge, it would be the same people over and over again, which wouldn't be a problem for me. It would be a problem for all of you. Can we just say cut 4 islands and be done with it? Nah, that's too cheap. Too cheap. Trevor, just $9.99 to get your deck list reviewed and $49.99 to get Nikachu to play a league with the deck. That's right. I might, if anyone takes me up on that offer, I'm like jacking it up to $100. It's just that at $50, no one, or I wouldn't say nobody. I very rarely get people to get me to play the list. Maybe I should start a decklist review live stream for Pauper. It would work. Like, I'm telling you, people fucking love the decklist review. Like, a quarter of you disappear. Actually, half of you disappear. There's like, I don't know, 25% of you just stick around because of the music. But it is very popular. It is more popular than I thought it was going to be. The key was just to slip into decklist review before Coffee and MTG blew up, yeah. Why no Chalice on the side in Tron anymore? Where they need it? Well, this is a budget deck. They probably should have Chalice. Like, it's definitely worth it. Hell, I think they could have Chalice in the main deck. Couldn't find the website. You couldn't find the website either? Like, if you can't find the website, how do I find the website? I'll tell you what. ZG, you just remind me in a future Coffee and MTG for decklist review, and I will help you cut 4 cards, but you got to get the decklist ready. You get the decklist ready, ZG Christ, all right? Get the decklist ready, and we'll be ready. All right, so that's going to be it for Coffee and MTG today. If you want to check out the replay and all about the stuff about the shrink wrap controversy, go check it out at Nikachu MTG Streams, my alternate YouTube channel with all my streamed content. If I didn't get your comments, questions, or deck list, we do this Monday to Friday, 9 o'clock a.m. Central Standard Time. Be there or be square. If you'd love to support the channel, and you haven't done so yet with Super Chats or in any other way, you can support the channel by becoming a sub at twitch.tv/NikachuMTG. You can become a patron at patreon.com/NikachuMTG, or you can hit the join button on YouTube. That's all good. Nikachu takes all forms of money on all sorts of websites. Don't got an OnlyFans yet, but hey, it could be in the making. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining me today. We had a great discussion. It's good to know. Also, just very good to know that shrink wrap exists, people, and compare it. If you think your boxes, your Amazon boxes that you bought are sus, compare it to some legitimate boxes. And if the shrink wrap is different, try to get a refund. If not, yeah, doesn't look good. It's more safe. You'll be more safe than sorry if you just buy from the local game store. So keep brewing up those coffees, coffee crew, and I will see you all next time. Take care.